Well, good afternoon, Dragon family. Hello.
Hello.
Araya Anra, also known as Tana or the Dragon Lady, coming live here in our group as I do every Thursday for the love of dragons. So those of you that don't know me, I am a psychic medium, energy healer, life coach, and guide for the dragons. The Dragon Within came through about 10 years ago, 11 years ago now, and essentially it's unveiled itself in my life to become that guide for people to wake up to their dragon aspect, to wake up to the part of them that as they come home to self in their journey towards love, that they realize or come to know and understand how they can actually be dragon. Why is that there? Part of the way that I do that, I started last year a 9-month program called The Way of the DragonHeart, and it is a profound opportunity to really expand yourself into that, to come home to self. And Chris here, also known as Ingor, which is his dragon name, and I know it's okay to share that because once we step in our power with that, it's something that actually helps bring that resonance of you out. So I brought him on today because he blossomed and flourished over those 9 months. And as his gifts returned, as he came back to himself and that recognition of the deeper parts stepped into his power, his own clairvoyance came back, and then he moved into understanding his connection to the Akashic records. And that has unfolded into some beautiful things. So I want to let you start. I don't know if we want to start with talking about the Akashic records, or maybe going back a little bit on your DragonHeart journey.
Yeah.
And what that was like for you, or where you started and how it went.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. So again, my name is Ingor Dietrich. It's my full dragon name. Again, stepping into that power. My journey kind of began maybe a couple years ago when all my family members are just really connected, and they would constantly see things and experience things, and I'd just be like, "What? I can't do that. Why can't I do that? What is this?" And those things kind of started coming in, and I went to this meditation, a Stargate meditation actually, and I had 3 dragons come into the meditation and told me that I was going to awaken them. And that was my first experience with dragons, and I was like, what does that even mean? I don't even know what that is. And so I talked to the facilitator, and she got me in contact with Araya. I joined the For the Love of Dragons group and saw the DragonHeart program, and I just felt this incredible pull to do it. I remember kind of questioning whether it was supposed to happen or not, but dragons are not subtle, by the way. I got such a big sign of where I pulled a tarot card and it had a dragon and a lion on it. And that very day, Araya on her Facebook posted something about lions and dragons coming in. And I was like, what? Okay, I got to do it. And so as far as my experience with the DragonHeart program, it completely changed my entire world and my entire state of being, the way that I see the world, the way that I see myself. Even in the beginning of the program, I still didn't really believe that I was a dragon. I kind of still thought like, well, I'm supposed to help them.
I'm supposed to activate or awaken them.
Exactly.
But I'm not. That means I'm not a dragon myself.
Yeah, exactly. And Araya in the program does a lot of one-on-ones, and we do meditations in groups every week. And each time you would go deeper and deeper into this level of self-love, forgiveness, and stepping into your power. And the more that we continually did that, the more that I was able to see who I truly was. And I remember this moment in one of our classes where we were doing this meditation, and it was to turn and face your dragon self. Ooh, it's going to make me emotional again talking about it, because that was the first time that I finally saw me and fully accepted that's who I was. And just allowing that to happen, huge heart expansion, like nothing I've ever experienced before. And so just continual growth through this program too. And each time that we went deeper and deeper in another layer, my gifts and my abilities started to really blossom. So just moving all that gunk of self-hatred and disgust and all of that kind of stuff that built up throughout the years as I moved through that and grew really in that self-love, and that's where the magic really started to happen.
And really working through a lot of ancient stuff.
Yes.
Because as you go through the work in what's in your soul right now, it unlocks the timelines of where that piece of you originated. Because some of your soul wounds that are coming up again now is because they weren't healed on the soul level before you incarnated in this body. Mm-hmm. And so going back and finding in the timelines places where you were injured or made poor choices out of harmony with love, in human form, in dragon form. I mean, it goes all the way back, and it unlocks those within yourself so that you actually get to be free of those and move forward and expand, and allow in that expansion so much more to come back in that is more of you and more of your truth. And as that happened, it was really beautiful for me. It's, you know, I'm pretty lucky as the guide because I get to see where everybody starts, and I can go in the field and get the bigger picture of what's coming and what's behind you, and get to draw you slowly, gently by the hand at the pace that you can handle into that process.
Yeah.
And to watch someone actually go for it and really get the most out of it, because it's always your choice if you want to go.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I was so impressed because you had to fight so many battles to stay committed to the program, to, you know, you just continually show the universe, I want this. I mean, how many times you had to go like through 5 or 6 different routes to even find the funding and do it. And you just kept saying, I know it's going to come. I know this is what I'm supposed to do. And I just need to find the right doorway. And then boom, all these things. But then to watch your gifts unfold, that's so powerful because not only do I get to expose your human to your dragon, which is your true self, but then I get to watch you awaken to those pieces of yourself and feel, you know, you're in like this place of like, this is magic or this is wonder. And when really it's always been there, we just have to be able to pull the veil back.
Yes, exactly.
And, you know, being able to see through the veil, it's like, oh, okay, are they going to get there? Can I get them there? And that's what gets so exciting. And at the same time, I'm not shown all the pieces.
Right.
I get surprises along the way too, and connections with people that, you know, my heart stops or breaks down when I'm connected with someone. Hello, Janine, speaking of one who is in my current program, and 2 weeks ago her session brought me to my knees literally to see the progress that she made on a soul level and where that took her.
That's beautiful.
And so going into that of where you are now and what opened up for you at the end of the program, you know, this is the other piece. When I don't know all the pieces, we had all the Pleiadian dragons finally come ready to work with humanity last year. I knew they were waiting for the energies on the planet to be ready. More and more is unfolding. And so they started unlocking some of the keys. And because you have a deep connection to the Pleiadian dragons, that was part of your journey and part of why you were in that group sphere. Yeah. Because everyone gets called for specific purpose. Your soul contract to be in that and unlock it at this time was so connected to the whole dynamic of feeling drawn to the program, making things work, diving through it. So tell us about your Akashic readings, because I've had one and he is very good. I call him my Akashic Reader extraordinaire because really the gift you have with it is uncanny.
Thank you.
So
yeah.
Tell people what that is. Some people might not even know what an Akashic reading is.
Yeah, so an Akashic reading, I think a lot of people get it confused for like a past life regression, but that's not really what it is. An Akashic reading is where your so let's just talk about the Akasha in general first. That's where all of the universal information is stored, specifically related to your own growth, your lives that you've lived or are currently living.
In multiple realities at once.
Yes, exactly. So what comes through in the Akasha readings is basically these situations and themes that you have struggled with in other lives that you are now bringing into this life to help move through that energy and to help heal. And so when I do my Akashic readings, what happens is I will experience past lives coming in, and they will show me gender, age, kind of where in the world you are, or where not in the world you are, and maybe in another galaxy, whatever. And it doesn't go too much into that life and what it was like, but what it will bring in is it'll talk about like maybe certain patterns that you've engaged in and have gotten stuck. And so, for example, think about, I gave one to this man, and he had this big theme of rejection. And so this life came in relation to being rejected by people for his gifts. And so a lot of fear around him stepping back into that power, and really fully accepting himself. And so that theme will come in, and then after that, one of your guides will come in and they will help you move that energy. They'll come in with mantras, they'll come in with visualizations. Sometimes I've done some toning for people to kind of help get that energy moving. And what's been really cool is the dragon guides that come in have been really fun for me because they're so silly and funny and and then also incredibly powerful. So that's kind of what happens. And they're not super long readings because the energy of them is really intense and really powerful. So they generally last about 25-30 minutes. And so far the ones that I've given people have really responded well to.
Yeah.
So
well, and you know, when you have the awareness come in of a pattern that's in your soul that you haven't completed, you know, this time around for many of us, because of the energies we're in and the place that the planet and humanity are in, it's an opportunity to have this be the final go round, to have this be the final incarnation in human form in this playing field, and to complete a whole bunch of cycles. So to have that gift of that awareness come in and to know, oh my goodness, the rejection piece, because a lot can be healed just by bringing it into conscious awareness. And I know when you shared some things that came up in mine, it brought together some things that I had had some hits about, but it's like it crystallized it for me, and it made it more real, and it hit the emotional pocket where I was able to release it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the greatest gifts of how you work with it, rather than just, you know, you can have past life readings or readings where someone gives you like, oh, you were so-and-so in Egypt and you were, you know,
right,
or you lived in this part of the world at this time and you were a fisherman. What do you do with that?
Right.
You know, you need the theme and the underlying energy stream of it is what really makes it valuable. So I'm excited to see you finally unfolding into your passion and what you're really here for.
Yes.
And maybe you could touch for people on that life purpose and how you felt, you know, I don't think you were connected to it really. You know, on some level you knew because you love helping people. You're naturally a counselor, already in that field. So some of you are out there feeling like, I work this 9-to-5 job, or I know that I'm in something that I enjoy to a certain level, but it's not feeding my soul. It's not the full Monty, let's say. It's not the full picture of what I'm supposed to be doing. And so having that, like knowing like, all right, I'm a counselor and I'm doing these things, and yet then having these pieces unfold and taking that set of skills and now expanding into, you're not going to go and turn around and quit your job right away.
No.
But to have the free time or the shift into, all right, maybe you can find a way, especially if you've been wanting to get out of what you're doing, find a way to shift it to, all right, 4 days a week, and maybe I have 1 day to start doing readings.
Yes.
Or massage work, or maybe you're in color therapy, maybe you're supposed to be in aromatherapy, maybe you're supposed to do something else, or what you're doing is perfect, but you need to enhance it with a greater gift. You know, I used to be part-time. I loved to work with flowers, so I worked in flower shops for years, off and on, especially through the holiday seasons. And I worked with a woman who is an incredibly gifted healer now. She's a massage therapist, but back then she was one of the best florists I knew because she already had this inner intuitive sense unlocked, and she put so much heart and love into the flower arrangements she was doing. And you could feel it as it went out the door, and I would love delivering or making those alongside of her, and then being able to deliver and have that energy transported into the house of whoever was receiving them, whether they were sick, it was a birthday, and whatever the occasion was. And she was at a certain level intuitive and awakened. Now she's gone to a higher level of that. But it doesn't mean that she wouldn't necessarily have still been a florist if that was what she was here for. But whatever you're doing, there's a way to bring in that energy of your true soul's purpose. Because when you're in your own purpose, the energy from your heart expansion touches everything that you're putting out. You can be a printer, and every book that you're printing has a frequency that touches people and plants those seeds of awakening in their energetic field and opens it and unlocks it.
Yes.
So that's the power of the journey, and to keep going, whether you know that you need to be a DragonHeart, or you can unlock something with a reader like Chris. How would they get a hold of you if they wanted to do a reading?
Yeah, you can contact me through Facebook Messenger. That's the best way to do it. So just send me a message and we can connect and talk and maybe set up a reading.
Yeah. Great. And the his name is spelled Chris Dietrich on his Facebook. The Ingor part is my add-in because I can't call him anything else, my dragon brother. So one of the other things I did you have anything else you wanted to share?
I just jump on that purpose piece of don't allow fear to keep you from doing your purpose. Don't play small. It's time for us to really be who we are and
Beautiful.
and be here on the planet and do that. So and know that there will be moments where you hit some pockets of fear. Like I'm still hitting pockets of fear. Coming on this live was a little bit of a pocket of fear for me. And
stepping through it.
But you got to step through it. And so,
Right. And I love, Lizzie, thanks for bringing that up. I would love to know my purpose, she says. That is one of the things that, when we go and say, I'm on track with my purpose now, it's an unfolding. And readings like this, or sessions, like the sessions that I do, or working with the dragons, each one of those pieces leads you one step closer to that. So I will say, for years, I wanted to know my purpose. I wanted to know what I was really here for. And you know what? 11 years ago, I wrote the book. Still didn't understand that was really my purpose and what I was doing. I knew that I just needed to do it. I went and I did it. But it's one of these unfoldings where I couldn't see it all because I had my own filters and blocks and healing that still needed to happen.
Yes.
And yes, I love that, Matthew. Yes, play big. So moving towards that, it's like allow the journey to unfold, but keep taking the steps that fall in front of you of the work that you can do, because every step you take forward, whether it's a self-meditation with one of the dragons, or maybe you go to a group meditation, or you join a book club, or you get an Akashic reading or an astrological reading or body work, whatever it is, that unlocks another piece. And the further you go along the path, the less debris is in the way from you actually seeing and connecting to what that is. So yes, Lizzie, absolutely. 3 purple hearts. I love that.
Yeah.
Purple is my favorite color.
And really quickly on that is like, I didn't know my purpose before I joined DragonHeart. I
Yeah.
didn't even realize my purpose. Honestly, it was really once we hit Sedona. And we went to Sedona, and that's when things kind of just, and I was like, whoa.
We had a whole lot open up Sedona.
Yeah.
Both individually, as a group, and for the planet. There was a lot that happened that weekend. And that was we started in March. Sedona was in September. So it was a good 6 months into the program. And even then, there was still work to do to keep unfolding and unlocking.
Yeah.
But such a beautiful process. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing.
Thank you.
Before we're done today, because I had a great question from Crystal Golden last week by email, I wanted to address it because it's sort of connected to this. And she wanted to know why, or talk about why the dragons even need us. All right, dragons are these magnificent, powerful, loving beings. They're multidimensional. They can come into almost, they can come into 3D. They're choosing not to. They can come into all these dimensional spheres. So why the heck do they need us? What do we have to do? I mean, can't they just go and open all the portals on the planet? Can't they activate everything? Because they know how, right, Crystal? So they know what to do, but they need us. And part of the reason that we, as incarnated and come down to be here as dragon and human, is because that human interface is crucial. If anything is going to happen in the 3D earth plane in physical matter, it has to have a body that is in physical matter to transmit through. There has to be the human interface. And so whatever level of work, and that's why it's so important that we each do our piece to wake ourselves up And as you connect to and awaken to your dragon self, you're going to find where you live dragons you've never noticed before. I love that Bridget Harrington over in North Carolina keeps posting incredible photos. She's discovered 4 in the woods and rocks and ridges and fields within a 10, maybe 20 mile radius of where she lives. That, yeah, they need us as much as we need them, right? Thank you, Linda. Absolutely. She's driven these roads for 20 years. She lived in the same place, driven the same roads, and all of a sudden, after she started accessing the book, being part of the group, getting the energy around her, she started seeing with different eyes and having that awareness of, oh my goodness, that's a dragon there. When she goes and opens that connection to that dragon, that helps to awaken that dragon. So there's portals that need opening, there's ley lines that need activating, there's dragons that need awakening. I'm not here to do it all. I have my own role with the bigger grid pieces. He has his role with the Akashic readings and his piece of actually implanting those Akashic readings into the ground at activation sites. Boy, did that unfold beautifully in Sedona. We didn't know that was coming, either of us. And all of a sudden we're having the group activation sphere that is part of these big portals. And he knows that he has to put his head to the ground because he has the Akashic records and he's the human interface for them to pass through. My whole body's tingling on that again, Ingor. It was so beautiful to watch it happen energetically. So yeah, everybody has their piece. The reason that you live where you live or travel where you travel is because you have connections there to unlock. And if you open your heart and just let it come out intuitively, naturally, you will see what starts to happen. And Lizzie's saying, I only recently met my DragonHeart. She is a beautiful white dragon. Oh, beautiful. Yes, absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. And I hope you guys will be encouraged to share into the group your stories, because as you write them in and people read about them, it encourages them to either share or it unlocks the possibility for them to realize that they could have a similar experience, and then they can open to it, and their guides can help open it. So Crystal, I hope that answered your question. It definitely is a great topic and a great thing that people are often wondering, like, well, if even the angels, why do they need us? They have to have the human interface, and that's why it's not just humans on the planet. There are many beings on the planet that just first and foremost incarnation is as human. There are also many beings on the planet whose first and foremost soul, form, and incarnation is as angel, is as unicorn, is as dragon, is as winged lion. Coming from the rainbow realms, there's lots of possibilities. Coming from the Devic kingdoms. So all of those are possibilities. Why did they incarnate into a human body? Why do I have multiple lifetime experiences? So whether you call it reincarnation or simultaneous experience in the time-space continuum, why do I insert myself in a whole bunch of points in the time-space continuum for lives, for experience? Because in order to interface in the right way and be able to have the human experience, I have to know the human experience and all the gamut and range of emotions that entails. So I go in and I'd be a pauper, I'd be a rich guy, I'd be a jerk, I'd be a victim, I'd be just a really nice, simple guy enjoying life. I'd be a wife and mother, I'd be a career person. All these different things it's why we choose all the different fields and see where the emotions cross over and become more human, be able to embody that and actually then become the true interface, so that as I come into my full human self and I remember, I can pull that dragon part of me through and actually serve here. Beautiful. Because the dragons can actually come into 3D. The way that we're coming in now isn't in our dragon bodies. My whole body's tingling on this.
Yeah, me too.
We're coming in a human form so that we can actually interface, do the work that needs to do, and help people from a level that they can receive, because the dragons weren't really received for a long time, right? So Crystal's saying, what about the dragons that were born from your heart? So there's another space. That's an interesting question, because not everybody has that portal. Some do have dragon eggs get implanted within their space. Nobody can implant those for you. They will come through naturally if the dragons intend to use you in that way, or if you've contracted to be used that way. Because you were a dragon that was a caretaker, a nurturer, a mother, a nester in the dragon realms. That's your nature. That's your gift and purpose, is to nurture, care for, bring about, whether you do it with children or baby dragons or whatever. It carries through that theme wherever we incarnate. So the dragons that are born out of your heart, that's a different portal where instead of eggs, they're actually coming through that portal of your heart, because those are part of your family lineage. Your dragon lineage is able to access and come through and be in this playing field in the earth planes, rather than out in the external dimensions. If they're coming from a universe or a place very far away, and this might resonate for you, Crystal, that if they're coming from outside this universe, they need a portal to come in. Whereas some of the others that are already part of this universal system, whether they be working in Sirius, Orion, the Pleiades, they already have access to those gateways, so they can work with everybody because they're already part of those gateways. But for those that don't have those gateways or aren't using those, they come from outside the system, they need a heart space to come through to be in this earth plane. So awesome questions, Crystal. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on. Do you have anything else you want to add before we close off for today?
If Tibet is calling you, join. I will be there. Tibet is definitely calling me. So if you feel that call, money is one of our biggest teachers. At least it has been for me. And finding money, right, and accepting that you are worthy of that has been a huge, huge lesson for myself. So if that is the only reason why you're not doing it, I highly, highly recommend that you take another look at that.
Take the leap.
Yep.
Because the money always shows up once you make the commitment.
It does. Yep.
Yeah. And that, just to share with that, Sacred Tibet is a journey with the dragons. It's happening September 5th to the 18th. It's 2 weeks. We start in Jining, China, and we're going to be taking one of the most beautiful railroads in the world to help acclimate us. We're giving ourselves an extra day to acclimate, in addition to the 2 days in Lhasa. So we're going to travel from there through Lhasa all the way across past the Everest Base Camp. We're going to go around Mount Kailash. If you're not a trekker or not up for a physical challenge, you can actually stay those 2 nights in the village. There are part of the group that's going to be doing that and not have to do the physical aspect of that. Oxygen's going to be provided. We have bottles of oxygen for each person, just to make sure that you acclimate easily. But it's really about from there all the way to Zanda, where the Guje kingdom was. There are dragons in the land. Tiamat is connected to this because this is part of her spine. The portal through Mount Kailash is a major grid point that many of you are aware of and have been called to that for many years. I know Tibet's been calling me for over 15 years, and I just kept waiting. You know, I knew it would align, and all of a sudden it's like the big push. It's got to go, and it's got to go now. So it's going to be an amazing group of people. I'm not taking more than 15 people. So it is going to be limited to 15. 5 of the spots are already taken, so this is a great time to get in. It's also a great time to get your airfares. Yeah. So 5.5 months out is ideal for airfare, and then it gives you the time to work on getting the payments together, working, you know, get a deposit in, and then figure out how to do the rest if that's the challenge that's keeping you from doing it. So definitely ask. Hi Willow, you never know whether yay, I'm glad you caught it too, Willow. Other big exciting things happening besides Tibet. I've got 3 workshops coming this year. One in Quebec, May 25th and 26th. One in Sarre, which is near Biarritz, France. That is June 22nd and 23rd. And then the following weekend, June 29 and 30, I am in the region of Lyon, France. Those, even though they're in France, are going to be taught in English and translated simultaneously. So it is an opportunity bilingually for anybody in that region, being French or English speakers, to actually have some live work. It's the first workshops that I've done since 2011.
So awesome.
Very excited because there are also some big activation points happening over there, and each of them. When I'm in Montreal, we're going to be activating the heart of the female air dragon that is on the Council of Mu and part of the tectonic plates of that region. So,
you know you want to be a part of that. Come on.
Right. So thanks everybody for coming on. It's been super fun. And as always, I will see you next week on the live. If between now and then you have questions, please message, email, or post them. I love to do questions on lives. And if you have questions about sessions, I do live discovery, or I do free discovery calls, 20 minutes of my time to see what you need. What's the fit for you? Is there a program, a session, a workshop, a book club? What is the route that you need to follow? And I'm happy to do that with you. And I will get you set up with that. So watch for newsletters. If you don't have one, go on the homepage of dragonwithin.com. Put your name in at the bottom and you can get the newsletters. One went out this week. And that's where all this stuff is posted all the time. I don't send them out too often. I don't spam email boxes. I hate so much inundation of email, but it does make it nice to have everything arrive in a timely manner when like deadlines are about to hit. We're like, oh, I need time to think about this. Here you go. There's the information. So you guys have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday. Ingor, thank you so much for being here. Love you.
Love you too.
I'm so excited for next week's activation with the Dragon Crystal Grid.
It's going to be
Peace
huge,
Meditation.
everybody. Huge.
All right. Bye, everybody.